Chappell Roan. Super interesting. If you don't know, she went on that show, Call Her Daddy, and said that all my friends who have kids are in hell. They don't sleep and they're not happy. And the internet exploded. Moms were really freaking pissed about that. And as a mom, a divorced woman, and someone who's lived a lot of life, I have thoughts. Oh, thanks, Evie. Dude, so before I get into it, I just want to say this too. Like, I saw the clip, and I was like, oh, that felt a little cold, right? Insensitive. And then I remembered I've literally done the exact same thing, not around kids, but around marriage. I have literally said so many times, oh my gosh, I look around at people I know and I'm not envious of most of the marriages that I see. I'm so not envious. I don't want that. I've said that before, which is kind of the equivalent. So looking back, like, it does feel insensitive to say that. But I'm also divorced and I've been through marriage. And so I'm kind of speaking from experience, whereas I think Chappell Roan struck such a chord because she's not a mom. And it was such a bold statement, but it's so wild to me, like, how fucking pissed the world got around this. And I just wanted to dive into why that is. I think, like, obviously there's a lot of truth to what she's saying, that moms are struggling mentally, but it's not because we don't love our kids. And it's not because we don't love being moms. It's because we're unsupported and we're oftentimes doing it alone. And we have to carry the biggest mental load. Courtney B says, I'm a mom. I'm not mad at her for thinking that. Sherry says, I'm a mom of 7. My kids bring me all of my happiness. Yeah, dude, just keep coming in with these comments. Courtney B says, I wouldn't expect someone who doesn't have kids to envy other people with kids. From the outside, it might look awful at times. So true, Courtney. I think that what people were missing from Chappell's comment was empathy. It wasn't like, oh, my friends who have kids are in hell. They're not happy. Why do we think that is? How can we help them? There was like none of that. There was no interest or concern in the systemic issues behind why women seem to be in hell and unhappy. So I think it was just lacking empathy. It was just like, oh, they're in hell. They're not happy. There was no compassion or empathy for her friends who are struggling. And that pissed people the fuck off, It's like, we're already exhausted. We're already undersupported. We're already trying to hold it all together. We're fighting to be seen. And, instead we're being summed up as hell. And it just lacked curiosity. I think it lacked curiosity. It lacked empathy. It lacked compassion. There was no, why are my mom friends struggling? What can we do to support women better? And no societal lens, just a one-liner and a mic drop. And it's like, she is really powerful. She has a lot of influence. And so I think there is that expectation when you have such a massive platform and you can make a difference. And I think, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because now we're all just having this conversation. And there's this whole fight between moms who are offended and moms aren't. Okay, let's get into the comments. So August says, why do people even have kids if it sounds so miserable? It's because they're sold a lie that is so amazing. That's a super interesting point. And another frustrating one too is that women can't win around that. We're told if you don't have kids, you will regret it and you'll be a lonely cat lady and you'll live the rest of your life with regret. And then the moms who have kids are miserable because we were sold a lie. So Yeah, dude. I think especially this country. Okay. I just had a psychoanalyst and a parenting expert who's pretty radical in her views on my podcast yesterday. And bro, she was just dropping some crazy facts and some inconvenient truths. Like in this country, she believes that we prioritize everything before our kids. Ambition, productivity, appearance, all of it gets prioritized before raising children, which is like a radical statement. And I know a lot of moms watching are like, that's not me. And I was like, that's not me either. But then I really thought about it and it's like, no, dude, I am pretty ambitious and I want to achieve a lot of things and I prioritize my kids, but I also prioritize my work as well. And it's not this very clear cut, like all the time, 24/7 kids before everything. No, that's not it. So I think like, I don't know. It was just very interesting. Okay. Amanda says, just because a parent looks tired, it doesn't mean they aren't happy. Dude, so true. I heard another quote one time that said, happiness is not meant to be, I'm totally botching this quote, by the way, but essentially it was saying happiness is not meant to be constant. Happiness is fleeting. And that's not a depressing statement. It's like happiness is fleeting. It's not all the time. So like, Chappell's friends probably felt really safe to vent to her. They probably felt like, dude, when my friends come over, I'm not just like, oh, Poppy did the cutest thing. Like, of course I do. We celebrate our kids all the time. But we fucking vent, dude. We talk about the lack of sleep or the temper tantrums or the struggle to find any sort of balance between relationships and work and parenting and mental, personal health. So that's what friends do, right? We bitch and we vent and we empathize and we listen to one another. And so I wonder if her friends are feeling a little like, dude, what? You misrepresented me. Yeah, I was telling you that I only slept 3 hours, but I got a babysitter to come see your show. And like, I love my life actually, even though it looks different than yours, you know? Like, I wonder how they're feeling. I think the point I'm trying to make is don't confuse venting with regret. You know, and another thing is like, you know, moms aren't in hell, we're in exile because society has abandoned us. So it really is a systemic issue, which is why it's fun to talk about. Okay. Dank 311 says, too many people care about meeting societal norms. Do what you want, regardless of what others think. Stop caring about what everyone else thinks so damn much. So true. Why the fuck are we listening to this 27-year-old childless pop star who, no offense, and P.S., I fucking love her music. So don't get me wrong. Like, I love her music. Actually, I love her first album. I don't know. I haven't really gotten into the second one, the country one. But no offense, but she's kind of strikes me as a glass half empty type chick. Like, she is a person who strived for fame and musical success, and she got it. And now she's like, literally posted saying, fans don't come up to me. I don't like when fans come up to me, and, you know, has an issue with having fans, and then also hates fame, which is such a byproduct of having any sort of musical success is fame. And so she's kind of in a pessimistic era, maybe, you know? And so of course she's going to see her friends who are bitching and be like, oh, they're in hell, because like maybe she's in hell. And when you're in hell, you just project that onto everyone else. I don't know. I'm just talking shit at this point. I'm just talking a little shit. Mikey says, my 3 sisters are moms. One of them is going through a horrible divorce. I will never know what it's like to be a mom, but I know how strong a mom is. Thank you, Mikey. That is so true. the resilience that a mom carries is truly incredible. And I think we would have liked to hear that too. We would have liked to hear, oh yeah, my friends seem like they're going through absolute hell. They're not supported. They're the primary parent. A lot of times now in this day and age, fucking breadwinner. They're literally primary parent and they're making the most money, or at least half of the money. There's dual income households. Plus they're responsible for the majority of the household labor, the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, all of it, organizing birthday parties, gymnastics, all of it. And so, yeah, dude, I think we would have liked that too. It's like, yeah, my friends seem like they're in hell, but man, they're so resilient. And what can we do as a society to support them? Hey, look at other countries. Look at fucking Sweden. They've got a year after you have a baby, they get a year of childcare for free, of maternity leave and paternity leave. And if the dad doesn't use his year, then the mom gets a second year. Now, don't quote me on that, but somebody told me that. Someone Google it. Someone Google that. Other countries are hooked up. Teresa says, what did Chappell Roan do? Teresa, have you been listening? Teresa, do you have a listening problem? No, she just popped on. She basically said all mothers are in hell and they're not happy. And she said they don't sleep. And I call bullshit on that because my babies slept and my kids, my 4 and 6-year-old sleep. I actually sleep more now than I did before kids because I go to bed with my kids. I co-sleep with them and I will literally go to bed at 8 p.m. till 7 a.m. I'm just saying. Okay. Chrissy says, single mom right here, all income and emotional support falls on me. It's hard, but rewarding and healing. Chrissy, girl, I'm sending so much love to you. I feel you, girl. And man, I hope that you have a good support system. I was just saying this earlier. I don't know if I'm premenstrual or if I'm having an awakening because I cannot stop fantasizing about either, downsizing my lifestyle just to be able to fully prioritize my kids and not have like an insane amount of bills that because I'm the provider for my children as well as the primary caretaker. So either that or I have these fantasies of like moving my friends in with their kids and just us all raising our children together. In an even more perfect world, it would just be we'd all live on the cul-de-sac together and just raise our kids together and have that village. I'm craving that village so hard. I had a bunch of my friends over on Sunday. We had like 10 kids crawling around the house and it didn't feel like work. It felt like fun. The kids were thriving and happy. They were all playing with each other. We had moms running around, holding babies, cooking, laughing, telling stories, entertaining the kids, entertaining each other. And it just felt so natural and easy and effortless as opposed to those crazy weekends when it's like just me and 2 kids, one with special needs who likes to elope and run off into a busy street. And you just feel it's hard to enjoy those moments when you're just like trying to keep them alive. So, okay. Alyssa says, and Chrissy, same. My kid's dad died this year and I feel the same way. Definitely challenging, but like, wow, I'm doing it. Sending you so much love, Alyssa. I cannot imagine what you're going through. And yeah, you're absolutely amazing. And I'm so grateful that your kids have you. And I'm really sorry for your loss. Rachel says, I love it when people do blanket covering over everybody, even though we are all humans with our own ideas and our own different lives. I know. Exactly. It's like you kind of have to look at who said it. And I look at like some of her other statements in the past. Like people are really mad at her for not speaking out more politically. And she's just like, I'm a pop star. Like I'm not a politician. So I wonder what your thoughts are on all of that. But I think it is a lot of pressure for her. But we also kind of have to look at like, why are we taking what a 27-year-old childless kind of pessimistic person, what their viewpoint is on motherhood? It doesn't make much sense. Okay. MI24678, great screen name, says, we're saying the whole world is selling moms a lie. CR called out, Chappell Roan called out the experience of her friends, and everyone went loco. I'm sorry, but potential moms need comments like this as a warning. That's really, really interesting. Yeah, dude. That's a really interesting way to look at it. And I have to say, I agree with you in a sense. It's like, I'm seeing a lot of Gen Z women think twice. Like, I think millennials, it was always, a lot of my friends were, I want kids. We're just sold, we want kids by this age and marriage by this age. And I think Gen Z is absolutely rebelling, and they're just watching and going like, oh, do I? I mean, I honestly think the explosion of social media, TikTok, moms being so raw about their struggle is making people really think twice. Am I ready? Am I with the right partner? You know, there's a lot of cautionary tales out there that we're seeing on a day-to-day basis. And so we're not seeing this like Hollywood lie. Dude, I am very grateful in my life. And so when I had my babies, I was incredibly grateful to be able to afford. Not only did I have my mom living with me when I had newborns, I also had a nanny just helping me through the day as I was healing. And even though I worked, okay, and I'm telling you, I was writing my second book while in a diaper. So I never took off because I run my own business. So I never took off work, but I was so blessed to be able to work from home. And when I would have shoots, I would film for a few hours, we'd break, and I'd breastfeed. Or if the baby was crying, I'd always tell Carla, my nanny, if she's ever crying and needs me, bring her in. We stop the shoot and I breastfeed her or hold her or rock her to sleep or whatever. And then I continue. So I was like incredibly grateful and lucky to be able to have that sort of support. Okay. Spookella said, Laura, I truly don't think mothers and the feeling of being a mother would be highlighted the way it is right now if someone would have said a naive comment like Chappell Roan did. Not malicious, just naive. Yes, I truly don't think mothers, yes, and the feeling of being a mother would be highlighted the way it is right now. Totally, Spookella. It's just a great conversation for people. So thank you, Chappell, for opening up this conversation. That's really amazing. Dude, I had this one woman who I was breastfeeding my 4-month-old, and she caught, and it was like in a story, and it was like both eating lunch. I was like out to lunch, eating a salad while breastfeeding Alfie. And it was just like a little story. I mean, all my followers are women, and they were like, oh. And then this one woman wrote me, and she was like, that's disgusting. Like, put your boobs, she said boibs. She kept spelling boobs wrong. Put your boibs away. Your boibs are for your husband. You're so disrespectful. You're disgusting. He's too big for your boibs. Your boibs are for your husband. She just kept misspelling boobs. My point is, I posted that hate message, and it went super viral, and all the thousands of women around the world were talking about how they've been shamed for publicly breastfeeding their kids. And then there was a hashtag normalized breastfeeding, which has been around, but it surfaced again and went super viral, all from this hate comment. So what I'm saying is, sometimes like these infuriating comments that we get, or these misrepresentations of motherhood, could lead to a greater, deeper conversation. Let's see. The real Miss Corthell. Sorry, guys. My vision's not great, so it's hard for me to read this. My youngest son turned 29 today. Empty nest here. All the hard things were worth it. Nice. And now enjoy that time, girly. Rachel says, I'm literally trained to look after children, but I'm good giving them back at the moment. Even if I can't have my own children, I would be fine fostering or adopting. That's great. And it's also kind of great that Chappell knows, like, oh, motherhood's not for me. Like, it is, you know, a very selfless task, lifestyle. And so to know that, like, if you don't want that with everything in you, don't do it. That's why I think these videos are so great, of all these just brutal truths of motherhood. But yeah, I think moms complain because we trust each other, not because we hate our lives. And also, if it looks like hell, why aren't we asking where the fathers are? That's the other point. Chappell's comment felt like she was like watching us burn and just like asking for popcorn. Again, it like just lacked empathy. And again, I think like what moms are going through, it's not a personal failure. It's systemic neglect. I think that's the main thing. Okay. Nikki says, Stevenson says, Laura, your viral video was so popular when I was pregnant and emboldened me while breastfeeding. That's so cool, Nikki. I'm so glad to hear that. Mikey says, it astounds me that people are still offended by breastfeeding this day and age. You would be shocked. You would be shocked. But I'm so glad that, you know, I posted that ignorant comment so we could have a deeper, bigger discussion, which is what's happening now. Erica Wolak says, parents do need to know what they are getting into, especially those without the village. Girl, yes. My sister-in-law lives hours away and complains about how much free time I get. And they could live near my mom and choose not to. Right. She complains about how much free time you get because you have the village, but they could live near your mom and they're choosing not to. Yeah. And I think, you know, if you're not going to live near family, like you have to just proactively find your crew, find your mommy and me groups and put yourself out there so you're not alone. You know, like I was just thinking, okay, maybe my idea of like moving people in is too extreme, but just, you know, inviting them every single weekend over to my house. So it's like, we're not alone and they're not alone and I'm not alone. And it's good for the kids. I also think, you know, motherhood is a paradox in itself. It is brutal and it is beautiful, or as I like to call it, Brutiful. I think that's the best definition of motherhood out there. It's brutiful, brutal and beautiful. It's thankless and sacred. It's exhausting and transcendent. It is a paradox. So when she says it's hell, it's like you're missing a whole other side, you know? And then, you know, I want to talk about too, how society is constantly devaluing women's choices. Like I said before, if you don't have kids, you'll regret it. When you do have kids and tell the truth, you're miserable. So like, what is it? Cheyenne says, I don't buy the grace y'all are giving her. All of my peers in our 20s look down on motherhood and consider it unethical. Wow. In today's socio-political climate, that's so interesting. Wow. Like it's almost irresponsible to have a child in your 20s now. Oh my God, girl. Courtney B says, I'd thrive in a commune of moms. Dude, Courtney, I feel like we all would. We all would. I took my daughter to gymnastics this morning, and I'll be honest, like normally I take her sometimes, but then I have my awesome nanny take her so I can work. Like I'm working on my third book and I'm, writing a ton. And after having this interview with this parenting expert who was like, we are just prioritizing the wrong things in this country. It was like, fuck, let me push around my fucking day to make sure I take my Poppy's gymnastics is more important than my book. But capitalism would have me believe that my book is more important than Poppy's gymnastics. And this woman would say, well, if you need that book to pay your massive mortgage, sell your house, downsize so you're not dependent on that book, and go to fucking gymnastics. Find a way. And I know it's so easier said than done, especially when you're a single working mom. You have to walk away from your kids to work to keep the roof over their head and food in their mouths. Yeah. What else did I want to say? I guess like I'm not actually here to bash her. I don't know if it sounds like I did, but I do actually get it. I've said similar things about marriage. I've literally said, I look around at my friends or people I know and I look at their marriages and I don't want that. I don't want that. Most people look miserable. Most married people look miserable and 56% of people get divorced. You know, I say that shit because I'm like clearly traumatized from my divorce. So I see it, you know, I'm not seeing the beautiful partnerships as much, you know, which is fucked up. So it's like, I've done that I've said, you know, said similar things, but I said it because I lived it. You know, I was in it for a decade. I had kids and there were moments that felt like hell, but there was a lot of incredible moments too. So I get it. Motherhood is hard, but reducing it to hell without empathy or context, I think that's where she lost a lot of us at the end of the day. So moms are tired, but we're not broken. We're not miserable. And if it seems like we're in hell, maybe ask what kind of world we're trying to raise children in. I think we should just, you know, work on like building the village and telling the truth and stop mistaking honesty for regret. Those are my thoughts. Let's see. Kate says, there are way more regretful parents than society wants to admit. Doesn't mean they don't love their kids. It means they didn't know what they were getting into. Kate, that is a really profound point. There's actually a whole TikTok page that's dedicated to like, it sounds so grim, but it's like parent regret. It's literally, the page is people send in stories anonymously of like how they regret having children. And it's all anonymous because there's like so much shame obviously attached to it. And you don't want your own child to see that. There's a whole TikTok page devoted to that. And I think it has been birth control for an entire generation, to be honest, whoever's seen that page. There was one man who wrote how he regrets having children, that he had their first daughter and she was, you know, typically developing and kind and funny and da-da-da. Then they had their second kid, son, and he was not hitting any of his milestones. He was so chronically ill. He was in the hospital his entire life. They both had to quit their jobs and take care of him full time. They ended up divorcing. It kind of like destroyed their lives. They had to just watch their son suffer for years and years. It's so fucked, you guys. It's so bad. So anyway, I gotta go because my son is currently at my door crying and screaming for me because he's sick and he's wanted mommy all day. So I've been holding this boy all day and truthfully been really sad that I even have to work for 45 minutes because he just wants mommy. So I gotta go, but I love you guys and thank you for chiming in, having this discussion. Please let me know, your thoughts below. I want to know, Alfie, come here. I want to know what you guys think.
Mommy?
You want mommy?
No. I'll walk.
Come here. I want to know, were you guys offended by what she said? You want to go on a walk? You want to go on a walk?
Walk?
Use a full sentence.
Mommy.
Let's go on a walk.
Let's go on a walk.
Let's go hiking.
Let's go hiking.
Let's go have some fun.
Let's go have some fun.
Can you say to the microphone, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
I hope you're well.
I hope you will.
Motherhood is not hell.
Help.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you guys wish that people understood about motherhood? Tell me in the comments. I love you guys so much. Until next time.
Mommy,
Yeah?
Mommy, come here.
Let's go have some fun.
Let's go have